Welcome back to my channel Celebuzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Cesar Millan is a really famous dog trainer who millions of pet owners love and look up to. Something shocking just happened after his court trial ended. That scary moment got everyone's attention right away, making people online confused and asking lots of questions. What really happened? Why did someone like Cesar, who's always calm and in control, end up in this mess? Let's find out what really happened in this story that has the whole world talking. Cesar Millan used to be famous all over the world for training dogs, but something shocking just happened after his trial. People always knew him for being able to control everything when he was in court, but that picture of him suddenly fell apart. When they announced what the judge decided, he lost the cool behavior that people knew him for all these years. What happened next made everyone gasp. Tense hand movements, sudden actions, and security guards had to rush in and help turn that moment into something all the news wanted to talk about. For almost 20 years, Cesar Millan built a huge business around the world based on training dogs in ways that focus on being the leader and being strict. His TV shows are on TV in more than 80 countries. His books have sold millions of copies, and when people hear his name, they think of someone who's calm and steady when working with dogs. But scientists learned more about how animals behave, and people cared more about keeping animals safe. More and more smart people started to worry. Ways of training that people once thought worked well are now being criticized, with people saying they can make animals scared, nervous, or even hurt them. This court case didn't just happen out of nowhere, but came from many years of people arguing back and forth. Things got really bad after a video from his training show went viral, showing thumbament when an animal got hurt during training. That scene made people really mad, starting a big wave of questions about whether Millan's way of doing things was right or wrong. After that came a bunch of stories from people who used to work with him telling detailed stories about times when pets got hurt during training. Because of all the proof they showed in court, the judge's decision was clearly meant to punish him. Cesar Millan can never work with animals again, and the training place he started had to shut down. Also, he had to pay a lot of money to groups that protect animals and take really hard classes to learn new rules about working in this area. Most importantly, the judge made him publicly say that many of the things he did were not okay by today's science rules. The scary things that happened in the trial and Millan's angry outburst not only shocked the news people but also made the pet-loving community argue a lot. The picture of him leaving the courthouse with security guards around him quickly spread all over social media, becoming a symbol of how a legend in the animal training world fell down. Outside the courthouse, you could clearly see people were split into two groups. On one side were angry protesters with signs demanding an end to training ways they thought were too mean. On the other side were the quiet faces of people who supported him for a long time. Many of them couldn't hide how sad they felt as they remembered what he'd done for dogs that were abandoned or had problems. The scene clearly showed how split people were about someone who was once honored as a symbol of hope and change in how humans and pets get along. Cesar Millan's life has been like a crazy adventure. He started in the poor countryside of Culiacan, Mexico. With only $100 in his pocket and a big dream, he crossed the border to the United States when he was 21 years old. He brought with him the dream of becoming the best dog trainer in the world. The hard early years of struggling in Los Angeles, from washing cars to taking care of pets, didn't make him give up. It was his ability to keep going and his talent that helped him slowly build up his reputation, becoming a famous person all over the world in animal training. With a TV show that played in more than 80 countries and books that sold really well, he wasn't just admired, but also thought of as someone who inspired others and was a pioneer. But the path to that amazing success is also where the problems that couldn't be fixed started. For Cesar Millan, dogs weren't just a way to become famous, but also a reason to live, something that saved him in his messy life. But over time, that deep connection became the starting point for problems. In 2010, his personal life got hit really hard when his wife of 16 years asked for a divorce, leaving him empty both in his heart and with his money. That same year, his closest pit bull, the main part of his training ideas, died from a bad sickness. The two losses, one after another, pushed him into a serious crisis, which sometimes left him feeling really hopeless. Away from the spotlight, the picture of a man who always stayed calm, confident, and in complete control of everything slowly became weak. According to people who have worked with him, he tends to hold on to the title of dog whisperer, a job that needs to be absolutely perfect. Keeping up his professional image wasn't just something he had to do for work, but also the last thing holding him up during a time when his personal life was falling apart. Even though he went back to his career later, people close to him say the deep hurt never really got better. He became easily upset by criticism, especially when it came to arguments that said his training methods that he stuck to didn't work. The built-up stress seemed to reach its worst point when an episode of his show became the center of controversy. A video of a dog attacking another animal during a training session made people really angry on social media and started a big investigation by groups that protect animal welfare. Even though no one was charged for that specific thing that happened, the public anger led to more accusations. One family said their French bulldog showed signs of worry after a stressful training session at his center. Another said their dog got hurt during behavior training at Millan's place. Stories from people who used to work there made the situation even more complicated. Some say the dramatic stuff was more important than keeping the animals safe. Sometimes, training situations were set up to be dramatic on TV, then edited to make the impact seem less bad. Through professional research, many animal behavior experts have pointed out that fear and worry reactions were misunderstood as signs of giving up, raising serious questions about whether the training method being shown to the public was honest. Lawyers trying to prove he was guilty presented a really good argument, comparing Millan's techniques to modern scientific research. People from colleges and animal rights groups have spoken out against the approach based on putting animals down, calling it old-fashioned and cruel. It was this agreement between experts that became the thing that helped bring about the end of a career once thought of as an icon that couldn't be replaced in the world of pet training. New discoveries about how dogs think and feel have dramatically changed the way humans approach training. The old idea that dogs are always trying to be the boss over humans and need to be controlled by where they stand in the pack is becoming outdated. Top animal behavior experts say that training methods based on dominance theory don't just not work, but can also leave dogs in a state of constant fear and stress, which then makes worse the behaviors humans are trying to fix. Throughout the court proceedings, Cesar Millan kept up the image of a man who believed in his ideas, always saying that the accusations were misunderstandings and unfair treatment from people who didn't really understand what he did. But as a series of proof came out, from videos of controversial training sessions to testimony from owners and independent experts, the once solid image he once kept up began to fall apart. Most importantly, the footage clearly showing the panic of the dogs during the training process confused the public, leading to doubts about their effectiveness and kindness of the methods he used. After the bad things that happened in the trial, Millan suddenly stopped doing all media activities. Interview requests were all said no to, and many unconfirmed reports said that he temporarily went back to Mexico to avoid public attention. Meanwhile, his sons, who were expected to take over their father's legacy, only put out a short message asking for respect for the family's privacy during this hard time. The impact of what happened spread far and wide, not only affecting him personally, but also creating a strong wave of change throughout the dog training industry. Many centers that had promoted Millan's methods quickly changed their materials and teaching directions, completely getting rid of the ideas of dominance or pack leadership. Trainers, including those who once followed Millan's style, are now focusing on techniques that rely on positive reinforcement and trust between humans and their pets rather than creating stressful or forceful environments. Professional organizations are also using this moment to help public awareness. An updated statement from the American Veterinary Medical Association has made clear its support for humane training techniques, while warning about the potential harm of methods that put pressure on animals. Demand for new knowledge and access to dog behavior has gone through the roof. Not only professional trainers but also P-towners are rushing to sign up for classes to learn about modern science-based care and training. For animal welfare organizations, this is a great chance to expand their influence and educate the community. Some have suggested that the shocking event has brought the values of humane training, which had been hard to spread to the public, to wider attention and acceptance. While this change came from a controversial incident, the most important thing is that the dogs, the subjects at the center of the debate, will ultimately benefit the most. Even the TV industry has taken a decisive step. Producers have quickly shifted to new training programs that focus entirely on positive techniques and cleverly contrast the differences between the new approach and what was popular on TV before. Streaming platforms have at the same time removed Millan-related content, replacing them with updated documentaries on dog brain science, as well as modern training methods that are considered both effective and respectful of the animal's feelings. As for the dogs that have been involved in the controversial training sessions, many have now been taken to behavior rehabilitation specialists. Through gentle scientific and patient methods, the dogs have slowly gotten back psychological stability and the ability to interact positively with people. Videos of their recovery journeys have gone viral on social media. a clear demonstration of the power of caring and understanding in building healthy relationships between humans and pets. No force required, just love and the right knowledge. Cesar Millan's training style, which once made a global splash, was praised as a cultural phenomenon, attracting millions of followers with his charm and ability to control the most difficult dogs. But after being involved in a controversial lawsuit, criticism began to spread, especially from animal behavior experts. Many who once admired him now question whether his techniques are appropriate and safe. While some still believe that Millan could have changed and continued to inspire by adding positive training elements into his methods, many see him as a symbol of an old era of training, where control was more important than understanding. Many experts who have followed Millan's training center say he had a huge advantage if he accepted change. His connection to audiences, his lively presentation skills, and his broad reach were all things that could have been used to popularize humane science-based methods. But instead of changing his approach to accommodate the progressive trend, Millan continued to defend his controversial techniques despite growing criticism. These choices were sad to Manias. He could have been a bridge between a mass audience and modern training methods had he been willing to change. The legal action not only ended a glorious period in his personal career, but also opened up a larger debate about how humans form relationships with their pets. Online discussions around cooperative training became more popular. Dog owners began to look for information about non-violent methods, spurring the development of in-depth training materials and friendly training classes. The demand for learning has gone through the roof, leading to a boom in sales of books on positive reinforcement and a surge in people signing up for behavior courses. More importantly, the incident has sparked a re-examination of outdated ideas that were once considered the foundation of training, especially the concept of pack leadership. The idea that humans need to show dominance to get dogs to obey is being replaced by approaches based on trust and mutual respect. Animal brain researchers say this shift is not just a technical change, but also a step forward in social thinking, from control to cooperation, from forced to understanding. For Millan, once known as the dog whisperer, the current period is challenging. What once made him famous is now the center of controversy. As the scientific and veterinary community continue to point out the dangers of the dominant approach, Millan's future becomes increasingly uncertain. Whether he can adapt and be part of the change or continue to hold firm to his old views remains to be seen. But it is clear that the shift in the industry has taken place. No longer a trend, but a well-founded movement. Millan's story is now not simply a story of a celebrity's rise and fall, but also a symbol of a turning point in dog training. As more and more people turn away from forceful methods, the past associated with power and control is slowly fading into the shadows. And perhaps it is enforcing the community to re-examine what was once celebrated, that Millan's most profound impact has been an influence he did not necessarily intend, but one that has been invaluable in changing the way people treat their most loyal animals. What do you think about what happened to Cesar Millan? Was his reaction in court the result of overwhelming pressure, or did it reflect deeply held beliefs that are hard to shake? And more importantly, has this case made you reconsider how we train and understand our four-legged friends? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to discover more insightful and humane perspectives on the animal.